So the Michael movie is breaking box office records, but the internet can't agree if it's a masterpiece or a sanitized cash grab. Short synopsis about what you felt about the video. About the movie, and then we can kind of pose a question and talk about where the divide comes in. Is that fair?
That's fair.
All right. So Jay, I'm coming to you first. Just give me a real quick, what you thought about the movie.
It was enjoyable to watch.
Okay.
If you are of a certain age where you actually were outside, you remember Thriller, and you remember how big of an impact it was where Michael was everywhere. It is a nice walk down memory lane. I thought it was a fun movie to watch. I think it was crafted well considering the constraints that they had upon them. It's kind of hard because I know what was some things were supposed to be in the movie, and I'm like, how did they skip that? And then there's also the technical part. This is the same way when I watched Straight Outta Compton, and I remember thinking, wait a minute, that version of the White Sox hat was not out in 1986 or 87. How could they miss that? And I felt that way in certain parts of this movie as well. But I enjoyed the performances so much, that I was able to look past some of those things.
Yeah, like them singing "Never Can Say Goodbye" before they had a record deal.
Yeah, that was a real. I was like, why would you make that decision? Yeah, especially for those of us who've seen the Jacksons and American Dream when they were clearly already they were stars when they put that out already. Yeah. Like I said, I enjoy them. If you're a fan of Michael Jackson, go see this. Let's go see it more than once.
Absolutely.
If you're not a fan of Michael Jackson, it doesn't really give you a certain level of insight into his greatness. And honestly, as someone who knows a lot about Michael Jackson, I was like, how could they leave that out? Even if you're just talking about the artistic part of his life. I know some people were like, well, I heard someone, this was one of the reviews where I didn't agree with the review, but it was kind of funny where they said, what if they made a movie about O.J. Simpson and it ended when he won the Heisman Trophy?
See, that's one of those. With this particular movie, I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10, and I'm kind of biased because I am a Michael fan,
right?
And based off of me being around and seeing some of those things happen in real time, reliving those situations and seeing how he came up with certain scenarios and songs and ideas, things of that nature, I thought it was very dope. But for those that haven't seen it, this is gonna be. What do they call it when you say something?
Words?
No, well, obviously. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert, yeah.
Close your ears.
Once the movie is over, it literally says his story continues.
Part 2.
So this goes to your first statement. Michael is breaking box office records, but the internet can't agree if it's a masterpiece or a sanitized cash grab. A lot of them are basing it off of not seeing enough of Michael in this movie. But it's like reading is fundamental. If you stay and watch the whole movie, when it goes off, it says his story will be continued. And we've seen footage that has been shot that was not in this movie. Some of it based off of legal situation, like Jay said. Mm-hmm. Some of it happened after the last scene in that movie.
Yeah, it stopped in 88, right?
Yeah, it stopped in 88, but I've seen images of him and stuff from like the Dangerous era from the same shooting. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, we don't know how they're going to shoot or do this second movie because it's implied. Obviously, it's implied when it goes off. There may be some situation where it flashes back to certain, times and comes back and things of that nature. It might be a part 3. Who knows?
I mean, because I've seen things where it's like, okay, someone was cast as Diana Ross.
Yeah, but that was on Diana Ross. So that whole
she
situation,
didn't sign off on that.
She didn't sign off on it. Janet didn't sign off on it. So she wasn't even cast.
Randy wasn't. So it's like, that's why you only see glimpses of LaToya.
Yeah. So you can't just blame it on, well, you ain't telling the whole story. There are legal reasons that the whole story wasn't told.
Why did they not sign off of it? Has this been made public knowledge?
Well, some of it was some lawsuits are going on with some certain, people love money, so they're going to hold stuff up because they want a certain chunk of the change, or there might have been a spin or a conversation that particular individual didn't agree with. If people aren't coming to terms as far as how splits are going to be made, there might be a reason why, as far as why all the brothers and sisters weren't included. There's a lot of things that kind of played a factor in it. I think that's it at the end of the day. Like when the miniseries came out years ago, the whole family was alive and everybody was a part of it. So that's the reason why they were able to do and show you certain things, because everybody, you know what I'm saying, greenlit the project essentially.
Well, no, and I think, because like I said, not only if somebody casted Diana Ross, like there was principal photography done for Michael Jackson being in The Wiz. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, that's part of the reason I was like, well, it just seemed like, Mike and Quincy just was always hanging out, and it was like, no, like that's a very integral part. The
connection is from Diana Ross. So you couldn't even see that Mike met Quincy in Studio 54 because that's when he was hanging out with Diana Ross.
But also there's some, well, we're not going to get into that.
But the thing is though, like we talking about damn near 4 hours if we're going to put, that's how long his career spans. That's why I think the part 2 is going to have flashbacks to what we're talking about, because you can only squeeze so much into.
I've even seen like there were scenes shot with Michael and his mom, going, doing what witnesses do.
Going door to door,
going door to door.
Service.
Yeah, exactly. And that didn't make the movie. I think there's a larger story here to be told. I don't know if maybe that'll be saved for
director's cut or something.
Yeah, but it's like I said, Michael, this movie was supposed to come out more than a year ago, and so they've been trying to maneuver and edit around all these things for a long time. And I think for all the problems they've had, I didn't expect it to be as enjoyable as it was.
Yeah.
Like I'll be honest, I didn't have really high expectations for this film. I thought it was I felt like it was going to be a Michael Jackson highlight reel. And the thing is, if I'm going to watch a Michael Jackson highlight reel, I can just watch Michael Jackson. But for this to be a film and try to tell a story, I think it did that a lot better than I was initially expecting.
Absolutely. I think Jafar did a absolute excellent job, because there was times in this movie where he looked like it was Michael Jackson on the screen. Mm-hmm. Like I couldn't tell the difference, like even like face wise. And granted, that could have been AI situation or whatnot, but I literally could not tell in some parts of that movie if it was him or not, So
the performance parts on stage and all that, flawless, man. Because you talking about somebody that's hard to impersonate, or somebody you want to act like Michael Jackson. Everybody can't do that. The Thriller scene, all that to me was phenomenal. Like young fella did his thing. The makeup, everything was elite, top tier. So I enjoyed it. I think y'all already said everything, but
yeah, Gobo, you want to add anything?
Yeah, what you think, Gobo? Tell us about the movie, bro.
I loved it.
Oh, my God.
That's such a Michael Jackson answer.
Man? You going to see it again?
I've already seen it 4 times.
What? Wow. It ain't even been out a week.
he got the budget to see it 4 times, so he can pay for that.
Ah, damn.
Yeah.
All right.
What you think,
4 times?
4 times is crazy.
Okay, you got the early preview, right?
I seen the early preview, so I did see that, which was last Wednesday.
Okay.
I seen that in IMAX. Now I do want to see it again in Dolby, just because I want to hear it different.
Okay.
Speaking to the mic, young man, tell us what you think.
Yeah, tell us about the 4 times you experienced Michael.
Yeah.
I can't stop smiling, guys.
It's that good, huh?
So on Wednesday, I did the same thing Terry did.
Yeah.
I went by myself, and then on that last Friday, I went with my mom, and then she wanted to see it again. So we went the next day on Saturday, and then I saw it today for the first time in IMAX.
Okay.
Yep.
Damn, he wasn't playing around with his support.
So do you have any overall thoughts, or did we cover everything? Just your initial.
You did.
I
think you did.
Did we cover it?
But yeah, I loved it. I mean, like, I whenever I saw it, as soon as I heard his voice, I just lost it. Just like,
Michael!
You fainted?
No.
Okay.
But I think a lot of memories from my childhood came back to me, and it was just like
on YouTube.
What?
Let him get his
I'm sorry. Go ahead, bro.
Man.
Go ahead.
Don't smack the shit out of you.
Yeah. Go ahead, bro.
Old memories.
Yeah.
There you go.
And like, be honest with you, probably being very vulnerable right now. That's probably the first time in probably 5 or 6 years where I really just took the time to just like let it out like emotionally.
No, for sure.
I'm not mad at that.
It was crazy.
I ain't mad at that.
Yeah, I mean, and this actually speaks to your initial, well, kind of, sort of, as far as Mike, if this is a masterpiece or if it's sanitized cash grab. We're talking to somebody that was not around when Michael Jackson came out. So when we talk about somebody's influence and importance in his music business being felt and meaning something and not just being numbers, this is what it's talking about. It's talking about it's exceeding the initial generation where it came out, where people that are coming up right now, somebody being born tomorrow, is going to know who Michael Jackson is based off of just his cultural importance in the music business. So anybody that thinks that they can touch a Michael Jackson level is
Sadly
fucking crazy.
mistaken. Yeah. Sadly mistaken.
It's crazy. Yeah, man.
I mean, I saw a video of a 10-month-old baby.
Crying.
10-month-year-old.
Like, I can't imagine this Michael.
He said a 10-month-year-old.
10-month-old baby. It's an old baby.
He's like 50-11.
Yeah, 11.
10-month-old.
Just say 10-month-year-old.
Just say 10-month-year-old.
A toddler, perhaps.
Anyways.
What was the baby doing?
What was the baby doing, Go
Having a good time, you know?
He's feeling it. Yeah, man.
Yo. So I've also, it's kind of been, the reaction has not been across the board like 100% where, oh my God, it's just the greatest thing. I do see a lot of people picking and choosing what they don't like about it and saying certain things weren't good and 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10.
You got to frame that too, because a lot of that was before the movie came out. So critics scored it low.
Right.
Versus when the people actually that wanted to see it scored it way higher than the critics did.
I think I've seen both. I saw what you were talking about, so you're actually correct, but I kind of paid attention to who's watched it. You know, it's only been out, what's this?
Not even a week.
Not even a week, right. So it's just a small sample size, if you will, but I guess the question that I would pose based off seeing, you know, some pushback on the movie is, are online fans defending the film because of its quality or because of their emotional connection to Michael Jackson and his legacy?
Both.
Is it both?
I think there are people who are just so diehard as far as Michael is concerned. You're not going to be able to tell them anything, even if it is a valid criticism, maybe about the pacing, the storytelling, or the technical aspects of the movie.
Gotcha.
You know, but I think there are some people who just went to the movie to hate because they're not Michael Jackson fans.
Does he have haters like that though? I don't feel like Michael Jackson has haters.
I think it's small, but I do believe they exist.
I think there are there are people who hate anything that's really popular,
and there's a lot of people that love Prince that don't like Michael Jackson.
I was never one of the people.
I mean, I like both, but I'm just saying that's a real thing though. That's a real thing. I've seen it happen.
I've never really.
Yeah, I think that was more so on a personal level. Like Mike and Prince kind of had an issue with each other. I don't think people that actually listen to music care less. This wasn't a Kendrick Lamar Drake situation.
No, it wasn't that
where
big.
I'm picking Prince over Michael Jackson. They was literally rocking with both of these artists.
Yeah,
I just know there are certain. I've heard people say, "Nah, man, I'm Team Prince." I'm like, all right, well, that's your fault because you're missing out. I've heard that, but I say you missing out, bro. Like, all right.
I do know there are people that like Prince more than Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
I mean, that's okay. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion.
But Jay, you said it's both?
Yeah, it's definitely both.
Both y'all, everybody says it's both?
There's definitely, there are people who are just going to defend this movie.
Yeah.
There are people who were defending the movie before they saw it. Mm-hmm. So that just is what it is.
I rated it 1,000 out of 10 in that interview that I had at the movie
1,000 out of 10 is crazy.
Before I even watched it. So like, yeah, I'm one of them people that was going into this knowing that I was going to like it,
no matter
based on my knowledge and my, fandom, so to speak, of Michael Jackson.
I mean, I was when we went to see it, I'm thinking to myself like, man, I remember this or I remember that. Granted, we were young, but it's like, nah, we were kind of outside for some of this stuff, and
you love being outside, don't you?
I got to be outside because you can't talk about it if you went outside.
I was inside when I was.
You know what I mean?
I know.
But either way, we lived it. We were there.
Yeah. Right.
The jackets, the zippers, like I was so mad. My mama said I can't afford it. I'm sorry, you ain't getting one. Okay.
All right, man. Everybody couldn't get one. I had the jacket. I had a doll.
Dang, you just gonna crush my childhood like that?
I'll call it an action figure.
Yeah,
Let's just call it that. But nah, man.
How rude was that? I said I couldn't get it. He was like, well, some people just can't get it. I had this, I had that, I had this. That's crazy,
sorry,
bro.
man. I mean,
it is what it is. You know.
But like, I had to kind of watch this movie from the point of not grading it specifically, like you were saying, as far as certain things being out. That them doing that song before they was famous kind of ticked me off a little bit.
I couldn't believe
there's
that.
no way they can do that.
I was like,
But
come on.
Yeah, even some of the jackets and clothes and things that he was wearing before he was supposed to be wearing it. Me as somebody that was there in real time, yeah, that's going to irk me. But somebody that doesn't really know, that doesn't matter to them. So you kind of got to watch it like this is all new to me and just keep in the back of your mind. I mean, this is a documentary. This isn't a word for word documentary. This is a movie situation. It's like a book. If you read a book, you're gonna get a whole lot more out of the book than you do out of the screenplay. So,
and it's the producer ear thing that we talk about all the time. Long. It's like, yeah, I know this is off, but I got to try to push that to the side so I can just enjoy, you know what I'm saying, what we actually watching. And I enjoyed it, man. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think they did a good job, and I'm curious. I can't wait to see, you know, what the next angle is going to be in part 2. How'd you feel about it?
You know, I'm sitting here thinking that, you know, I'm happy for you guys. No, I mean that.
I'm gonna let you finish.
No, I mean
what?
that. No. I'm happy for you guys that you guys have something to where, like, you know, like Terry's talking about, like it takes him back, and you know he's like so enamored by by something that happened in the past that it takes you back to some place. I'm sitting here thinking, like, I don't have anything like that. I don't have a single thing to where it's like, oh man, I would be so excited to see something from the past or anything like that. I don't have anything like that.
There's nothing that you attach to like that?
Not a single thing.
Wow.
And so, you know, so from one perspective, it's a little foreign to me, I guess.
No, that's fair.
You know,
that's fair.
But you know, it is cool to see you guys, like, you know, really enjoy the thing that you guys enjoy. You know,
no, that's real.
Yeah, my wife is kind of the same because, like,
I'm sitting here like, man, what kind of depression do I have over here?
Because, like, she says she doesn't remember certain parts from when she was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, that era is very vivid to me. Like, I can remember it like it was yesterday. It's like I remember the influence, or I remember playing like Thriller on the playground. Like, I get to be Michael Jackson, y'all got to be the zombies, and everybody's fighting over who has to be the zombies and shit like that. But like
actual fight too.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of them things where, I mean, it's kind of fortunate that we have that type of, you know what I'm saying, memory connected to it.
You know what's crazy is, like, when we think about the album Thriller and, you know, how Michael Jackson kind of defined at that point music video. Yeah. And the thing is, like, there's 9 songs on Thriller. I believe 7 were singles, but only 3 had videos.
Mm.
You know, I mean, because now part of that was cut off because they had to start, you know, promoting the Victory album that Michael didn't want to do, you know, but he wasn't in any of those videos either. But it's just crazy how we think about, we kind of tie.
What was Say on?
Oh,
no,
good question.
That was Paul McCartney's.
That was Paul McCartney's. That was before Thriller, or right at the same time.
Just
right
a
around.
feature.
Yeah, so there was, like, you could say, like, in that era where there was a Michael Jackson video out, but that was on Paul McCartney's project.
That's right.
But, you know, like, and the thing is, they didn't want to do Thriller. So if you know the story behind that, like, basically they had to cut a deal to, you know, to, as far as like the making of Thriller, like, they made their money back off of that video cassette. At one point, that was the most sold video cassette ever.
Yeah,
you know,
I'd love to have one of those right now.
Man.
You know, I remember watching that, you know, at like some, like, it was like spring break, and it was like something they did to, you know, when we had to go somewhere because if your parents worked, they had to put you somewhere, and I remember that kept everybody quiet.
Started with the "Can You Feel It" video.
Yeah.
Oh.
So there was this whole thing where, at one point, just through that, the fact that there was a proliferation of people having VCRs, and at one point people might have had only 3 or 4 tapes, and one of those tapes was going to be the making of Thriller.
And what's
100%.
crazy is that VHS tape, the making of Thriller, probably came out a year after the video came out,
And it still went up.
Yeah. I mean, because this was the closest anybody had to, you know, the hottest artist of that time. on demand.
Yeah.
You know, because there was no such thing as having anything on demand at that time, but that was the closest we had. You know, and so, you know, I always, especially knowing what I know now, I was like, man, if imagine if they could have done the Thriller tour as opposed to it being the Victory tour.
Come on, man.
And, you know,
Talk about numbers.
and
It would have looked a lot better too because of the stuff that he was doing stage wise. Yeah.
you know, and they were trying to be like, hey, all right, it's time for Jermaine to do his song. And it's like,
But even when you watch that tour, even when you watch the Victory tour, I would say 85% of it is Michael performing by himself.
Yeah, that's why
Jermaine had his solo set on there that he might have did like 3 songs.
yeah, and they didn't even, it's called the Victory tour. They didn't do anything off of the Victory album.
Nothing.
But
They didn't even do Torture.
No, and they didn't do my favorite song on that album, which was Body.
Yeah.
but you see Joe in the movie was like, nah, Mike don't worry about it. Mike gonna be, he already knew what was up. He gonna be there. Don't worry about it. He gonna be there.
You know,
I will say this though,
Okay.
as far as
For the family.
as far as like people being upset about the whole story not being told. Now, once the whole story is being told, I seen this on the Breakfast Club. Charlamagne the Guy was having a conversation about the allegations, and he made a very good point that on this second release, if there is a second movie, if they talk about the allegations, they have to talk about how wrong those allegations were because he had it was like 14, 15 counts, and he wasn't found guilty on
They
none
were
of
all
them.
dismissed.
The FBI
yeah,
and whoever else that have been looking into this have never found anything. So they have to be just as loud with the apology or saying that this didn't happen as they were when they were accusing him.
Did you see one of the? I think it was TMZ that ran up on one of the accusers. He was like, "I ain't watching it," and I was like, "Okay."
Yeah, one of them in particular was the dude that was in Quo. His name was Wade Robertson.
Wade Robertson.
I think he ended up being a choreographer or something.
Yeah,
But like there was a point in time where he took, you know what I'm saying, the stand, raised his right hand to the Bible, whatever, and said that nothing happened.
Yep.
As soon as
the money ran out.
As soon as the money ran out and Mike was gone, all of a sudden things happened. You know what I'm saying? So
That's why I don't mess with Oprah.
yeah, man.
Hey,
Mike was never found guilty of none of that shit.
He was like,
none.
He paid out, so there was a settlement that he paid out. The payout was cheaper than him taking it to court. I think that was the first one. After that, he was pretty much like, I'm not settling shit else no more.
Yeah,
Because I mean, this is Mike, man. He got hella money. He was gonna take it to court and just pay whatever because they were saying that he was guilty for settling that first case versus I don't want to spend $20 million versus this I can sell it outside
And
for
then-
like $6 million or whatever.
yeah, and then like my whole life has to stop to go back and forth to court.
That
Yeah.
part.
He was on tour during that same time.
Yeah,
too.
but
I think
that
it was
was-
the Dangerous tour.
He had that bread though, so that wasn't a problem.
Actually, that was because the tour that and it never came to the United States of America. It was that was Dangerous. Yeah. But it was just crazy how, you know, initially this is one of the reasons I wasn't super excited about the movies because like if they were going to go, if the whole story was going to be told, I was like, we know this ends in a sad manner.
True.
You know, and I was like, that's not why I want
Yeah,
to.
you gonna cry?
Yeah,
Gonna cry in the car?
but
Part 2 probably gonna be.
I mean, if
A
they
lot-
really
some
go
tears,
into
for
those
sure.
things, I mean, because there are always things they have to like. There were things they had to change. You know, they didn't. The Michael Rappaport's character was an amalgam.
Mm-hmm.
Why
know,
they have
of-
that mark ass?
I hate Michael Rappaport is a cornball. I hate him.
But he was, you know, he was perfect for that role. I'll tell you what.
Was
But the thing is, there were when they talk about the people who was ripping New Edition off in that post Candy Girl part of their career
Mhm.
when they got to MCA, like that was actually a full group of people who are still alive, and like they didn't use their names, they didn't use the actual production company name that was, you know, when Mike says, well, what is this? That's not the actual name. When you go back and look at the New Edition record, that's not the name of the company. So they had to change some things around just for legal reasons. So they'll probably, if they do a second Michael again or whatever, there might be ways that they can get around these legal things, but they probably just didn't have the time, or maybe they just didn't want to go into it, or they had a plan. But like there are
Or they're smart and they just want to make another 200 million and just do another movie.
That could be it too, because
that's all I thought.
Because
about.
they're like, hey, we can get 4 more tickets out of Gobo.
Come on,
if we,
straight up. Or they might mess around and people seeing how successful this movie is. The ones that were saying they didn't want to be a part of it might be like, you know what?
Let me get some of this paper.
Go ahead and put me in it, and then they'll release an uncut version, still in the movie theater.
Yep.
And then you know what I'm saying? Who knows?
You know,
but there's always footage on DVDs, and people don't really buy DVDs anymore. But like the uncut version, where you get a whole different version of what was actually in the theater.
Patreon.
Yeah,
there it is.
But you know what the thing is? Like when I looked at the box office numbers, you can't just look at the United States of America. Like this did huge numbers across the world.
Yeah,
you know, and so that's what honestly movie studios are looking at now. Just because we talked about how nobody buys DVDs at one point. When people would buy VHS and DVDs, and going back to that time, it was almost like you were re-releasing the movie. So there are movies that, you know, did better on cable and VHS than they ever. That's part of the reason why Robert Townsend is still out here and he can make moves, because if the five heartbeats would have died in the movie theater had there not been VHS and DVD, and I think it's probably coming out on Blu-ray soon enough. Like that movie got to be a success for the studio.
Absolutely.
After it came out.
Yeah, there's a lot of movies that were not successful in the theater and ended up being successful once you were able to actually buy it for your home.
What'd you say, Long?
I said it's related to the industry in general, because that's also, when you think about the record industry, that's why it's 12-inch singles were big in the 80s. You know, it's created a whole nother marketing push for a record. You could get this record on its full, quality, highest quality you can get on this.
Remixes.
You know,
I remember maxi singles, man.
Well, no,
where it had the extra 2 or 3 records on it, or acapella or something like that.
Jay-Z actually just released a single for 99 Problems that has
a Just Blaze remix
on vinyl. Yeah, absolutely.
That's a nice piece to grab.
Yeah, but even back to like movies being released, what's his name? I Am Legend. In theater, you seen him be killed by those zombies.
Mm-hmm.
Once you got the DVD, you had 2 alternate endings.
Yep.
Well, you had an alternate ending, which was what they had shot before.
Oh,
and now,
yeah,
which
you're
is
right.
the reason why they can make a part 2, because they put it out both versions on that DVD.
He made it to the colony or whatever it was, because I remember they opened up the gate. Yep, you're right. You're right. That's a good point.
You know, but just when we talk about movies, I mean, this summer is just going to be crucial for Hollywood in general. Michael is looking like it's going to be a good start, but you know Hollywood is reeling after.
I'm going to see Doomsday. I don't care what nobody says.
You just got to understand. It's like, look, you know, the movies are so expensive to make, and you know they got to clear such a ridiculous amount of money to make it. That's why I have this whole theory, because like when you watch, remember when you watch the Super Bowl. Super Bowl is still a thing. But one of the coolest things about the Super Bowl to me was seeing those movie trailers. You know,
it was smart to put those in there.
Yeah, but now, if a lot of these movie studios are like, that's $7 or $8 million, we can do something else with. And you know, if you have that money, Hollywood money that's taken away from the Super Bowl, I'm pretty sure they'll make it up somewhere else. But I was like, if they can't, you know, trust and believe in 10 years, maybe 10, 15 years, Super Bowl is going to be a pay-per-view event.
Hey. At the end of the day, Mike did his thing, family did their thing, and we'll see if it's a part 2.
Yeah, man.
That's it.
I think what the movies need to do, though, is y'all know how that Vegas has that big-ass dome? Like,
the
seriously.
The
sphere. Yeah.
That apparently is not making any money.
I think they need to make movie theaters that kind of resemble that, even if it's a half sphere, that will make people want to go to the movies more. Because movies aren't cheap. Like, I paid $20 a ticket to go see Mike, and that was
where'd you go?
Yeah, I'm about to say
you went to IMAX. Okay,
yeah,
okay.
IMAX, and that was before.
I don't like IMAX.
That was before popcorn. Popcorn is another $15.
We had snacks in a girl's purse.
That's if you don't go to one of these places that serves food and liquor.
Oh yeah, you're gonna come out of some money.
Hall,
so
yeah, probably Hall.
No, I mean, and this is the first time I've been to the movies, and the last thing I saw was like maybe it was either Little Mermaid. I saw Transformers 1.
You went to go see the Little Mermaid?
1990.
Hey, man.
Lone was thrown off when he said Little Mermaid.
When your lady friend says you want to go see Little Mermaid, you go see
Little Mermaid.